there was a clear, gap between, the intelligence and then the information that the president was given and the decisions that the president was making.
Yeah, you said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit. They were, I wouldn't say friendly countries. They were like neutral. They lived with them for years. Saudi Arabia. All of a sudden, Kuwait is getting hit. Bahrain is getting. All these countries are getting hit. There was no expert that would say that was going to happen.
Piers, I don't think the Gulf states thought they were going to get attacked either, because it was insane for Iran to attack and then bring and draw them all in. I think if you talk to most military experts, they thought they would not do that.
Iran says, okay, you humiliated us, you killed all of our leaders. We're going to go make this a regional mess and try to get as many people involved as possible. They're going to go after Americans, they're going to go after Saudis, they're going to go after everybody imaginable, just to create a big mess and to try to draw the world into it.
If you talk to most military experts, they thought they would not do that.
There was no expert that would say that was going to happen.
In the lead up to this last iteration, a good deal of key decision makers were not allowed to come express their opinion to the president.
So you're saying that you were prevented from bringing this information directly to the president by gatekeepers?
Everybody's kind of reading the same intelligence, but then what actually gets briefed to the president can be very, very different depending on who and how it's delivered. You're kind of lacking that sanity check of where we're at, or at least a good sampling, to gauge how accurate what the Israelis are saying is. And that process, in my view, was largely stifled in the second iteration. What was conducted by just a handful of advisors around the president. I think the circle that was around him was very, very tight and very small, and I think they were all on the same sheet of music. And I think a lot of them were getting their information from the ecosystem that I described.
Israeli government talking points laundered through Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Is that the ecosystem you're talking about?
Yeah, and then the Israeli officials coming in and basically either ahead of time or after the fact saying the same thing. There was a clear, gap between, the intelligence and then the information that the president was given and the decisions that the president was making. We trust a lot of what they have to say, not keeping in the back of our mind that they have their own agenda and we have our own agenda at the end of the day. Now, I'd say a lot of times we have the same agenda. It's very, very, I think, tactically the same when it comes to fighting Hezbollah, when it comes to fighting terrorism, sure. But when it comes to what's our strategic goal in a war that's going to have ramifications for our nation, for the region, for global energy supplies, I think most folks right now at the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies, they would say us and the Israelis actually have a different objective here. The Israelis are not shying away from regime change. They want to knock out lock, stock, and barrel the current government. They don't seem to have a plan for what comes next.
We don't know where that is going to go. And that's my final reason why I am always skeptical of military intervention. And when a lot of the sometimes warmongering wing gets too excited, you don't know, actually. You need to have a lot of humility. You do not know how things are going to work out. It is impossible. But I can say concretely, here's where I stand and where the MAGA base stands. We do not want U.S. boots on the ground. We do not want American kinetic involvement. This is Israel's war. This is Israel's self-determination in play.
Last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway, and I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small, you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space, and he said, Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran. Very loudly.
He was single-minded.
And he walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval.
Saudi Arabia. All of a sudden, Kuwait is getting hit. Bahrain is getting. All these countries are getting hit. There was no expert that would say that was going to happen.